manager giving people drinks. And I'll talk about why that is very important when you don't even know what to do. But that person can be the best person to serve drinks. All right? So you cannot be in a field and not participate. And that's when God was showing me, Femi said, in life, everybody is important, but not everybody is relevant. And I was like, what does that mean? He said, I'll give you an example. The recent COVID that happened, we were all watching Netflix at home. Some people that stay at home, right? And one guy, I forgot his name, maybe Dana or something. He owns UFC, MMA, one of the biggest things that took over even some of the key big sports like boxing, right? When COVID happened, Dana White, that's his name, Dana White discovered that he can do his sport in another place. But this is why God tells me, Femi, everybody in life is important or significant, but not everybody is relevant. So let me go give you an example. In the field of soccer, who do you think you need to make the game happen? Can anybody answer that? Who do you think you need to make the game happen in soccer? The players. Do you think you need the spectators to make the game happen? No. That's why when you get to here and here, you can tell. When you pick a field of play and you shine whatever you have, you're still on the field. Do people who are spectators, do they receive any trophy? That's why God said you have to be relevant in life. That means you have to be among the players. You have to put yourself among the players, not the spectators. So UFC happened, and the guy said they made more money or whatever his goal was, even during COVID. Because all he needed was just 2 fighters. That's what MMA mixed martial art. He doesn't need the spectators. But they can hear it on Netflix, they can hear it on whatever, YouTube. But once he could bring people together, the game is going to happen. So whatever you are doing in your life, you have to know what is relevant and what is other things that are just important. They are important, but they are not relevant. That means they are not part of making your dreams and vision happen. The things didn't happen with friends, right? You're hanging with some friends, you have to know whether they are relevant to what you're doing or they are just spectators. Because what spectators do most of the time, in my own opinion, is make noise and clap. I hope that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So be on the field, pick a field, shine your gift, and be relevant. That's what it is. Being relevant means once you know you are part of the players, you got to come in. You got to do what you got to do. I think I already talked about Toby's story, right? And how much time do I have? All right. So the last thing I'm going to talk about, because I said this thing is very simple, and I'll bring it all together with the quiz I gave you all. So another thing God gave me is the law of different value. When I talk to Sam, I think to make it put into perspective for people. It's called the law of different value or opposite addictive. What does that mean? It's very simple. That law is very simple. Every time you are in a place, right, the law, let me start the law. The law says, let me say what the law says. This is what, when I was meditating, God gave me this simply. He said, the law says the light is the only thing that shatters darkness. And what is the opposite of darkness? Gentlemen? Ladies? Light. The light is the only thing that shatters darkness. And the light is different from darkness. They're two separate things. But guess what light does when it comes? It has value to everything. It is what brings exposure that I told you about. Without light, there's no exposure. So everything you are using here, knowledge to know who you are, is light. Where did I write light? Right, somewhere there. It's light. Even when you come and shine your gift, your talent into a place where there is no light, where there's no vision, where there's no dream, you are opposite of what they are. You are bringing something new. And in the literal time, in business time, we say this for those who are like business mindset people. I think one of the people that made, I think, Hap will say the same thing, but I'll say what he said. When you are sitting in a place where everybody got an idea or ideas and nobody can execute, what do you think happens? Can anybody guess? What do you think is going to happen? Every one of us got ideas. We're like, oh, let's go make this thing. Let's go make this, but nobody can make it for us. Nothing is going to happen. We're going to be where I said we started, stagnant. We're going to be stagnant. You need somebody who is thinking different than you, who is opposite thinking. That means the way the gift works, whatever you lack in gift, that's why partnership comes in, mentorship. There's somebody who is, you can find out relevant in that field that can add value to you. That's what opposite means. Light and darkness. Light shatters darkness. Light brings something that darkness does not have. So when you're sitting down in a place where you don't want to be, you know you have to move to where you want to be. Where people have different ideas. Where they can build stuff. I think I was sharing with Amy, like, since I came to this country, and I always say, when I was coming, I didn't want to come to the US. I did not. We even fought over it. I won the lottery. I was like, we're going to tear this thing apart. I want to finish my education. Then I called one of my friends that was already in the States, who went to school. We didn't go to school together, but we did an exam together. He was a very, bright guy, but a Muslim guy. He was already in the States, and I called him. I said, hey, we call him Prince. Prince, can you tell me a little bit about the country, about this country? He was like, yeah, you'll be okay. Then one day, and that time, I knew God a little bit. And God told me something. I thought I've heard that thing before. He said, I will not make you be there like every other people that you are afraid of. That you think they go there and they produce nothing. I will not make you like that. Once you think different than them, you will always produce something different. And I'm not sure, like, this law of opposite addition, how many people here does not know that a man cannot be fruitful or produce children, let me call it produce children, unless it takes the gift of a woman. How many does not know that? That it takes the gift of a woman and a man to make children. Do you guys know that, kids? Do you know that, right? So most people are not fruitful in life because they think they have to have everything it takes to get something done. You have to find somebody who thinks that, who can produce what you can. That's why Apple said it. Apple, and I forgot his name, Wozniak, Steve Wozniak. Steve Wozniak said most people do not know most of the product. Apple only knows the strategic and business. He doesn't know the guy Apple, Steve Jobs, right? He doesn't know how to produce those things as engineer. He just knows the basic of it. He was the one that was behind that thing. But they think differently. Steve Wozniak, when they wanted to sell their first product, Steve Jobs knows how to talk business. Even Steve Wozniak said the first time Steve Jobs requested for a large amount of money, he was like, oh my God, this guy, I didn't come here to make this money. I only want to make product. They're going to kick us out. But Steve Jobs was able to talk the company into, he said, but Job think differently. He's the business side of the house, he's a strategic thinker, he just make the product. And that's what happens in life. When people don't find those who are maybe have opposites that are different, that can have value to their dream, there's possibility they can be stagnant, they can be stopped. That's why you have a lot of people, they are just living life, they are not living a life of relevance because they think they can achieve everything all by yourself. Alright. So that's all about opposite addition, right? So if you have a dream that dream you think you are the only one that can achieve it yourself, that dream is not big enough. It's not big enough. You cannot achieve it all by yourself. To build just a house. You know how many people, and they don't do the same thing. They are all, I call it opposite, it sounds opposite, and I'll show you why. Here. I call it, but somebody said use different. I said that's still the same thing. The person that wires this house, electrician, is not the same person that built this house. They have some similarities in their thinking, but what they do are two different things. That's why I call it opposite. So that's why I use the word opposite. So you have to like know who you are, where you are, and when you don't have anything to do, at least pick a field. Pick a field of play. And when you get to that field of play, be relevant. You know, shine your light, shine something into that field. If you don't know how to play soccer, hands water how. Alright? So the law of relevance and significance says everybody is important in the field of life, not everybody is relevant. You gotta know where you are. Alright? Think about it. Alright. So I think one of the things I think I talk about is you have to remember, like, in life, right, sometimes you have to move in opposite direction of where you are. You have to. And that's why this is very important. That's why I call it opposite. You have to. Let's say that's why we designated these three positions. Right here, present. I'm in the present. So I'm not sure if anybody can see. If I'm here and I dream about going to work, I cannot go back to bed. Right? Remember, bed is your past. Remember, right? You woke up. And you remember that, I know when you said you woke up and you wanted to go to work. Where's your work? I think I asked Anu the other time. Where's your work in this thing? Past, present, and future. Where's your work? You're right here at home and you decide you want to go to work. Exactly. Right? Yeah, future is your work. But in order to get here, that's why opposite additive even means you have to go forward. You have to go this way. If you go back to bed, guess what? You might be fired. You know, that's what happens to people. Even in life, right? Some people, like when we came from Africa, I always say, I want to go back. I want to go back. You can go back, but don't misunderstand me. But if you go back here, and you don't have a plan, you don't have anything you want to do, right? And it does not align with here, then that person fails. Because you don't even have a plan. Does that make sense? Even though you are always in the present, I'm not saying literally, I'm not trying to teach you something like that, but there's always a future, there's always a tomorrow. But remember, everywhere you want to go, once you decide it, when you move forward, there's always a mentor here. Here, the reason why you left this place is because these people are naysayers. That's why it's called opposite. You move away from them. Negative, positive. Does that make sense? Always look for mentors. That's why you need to know these two things. Where are you and who are you? What do you want to do? Once you decide this future that we're talking about, which is your tomorrow, to move there, you have to find out what you have to do. The Toby story that I shared, she knows she has to go to practice every day. Even though we call it uncertain future or world, the most important thing about picking a field, now who can ask me? Who can tell me? Or the advantage of picking a field by yourself?
It's different from somebody that's not doing anything. There is a probability you're going to have your exposure. Somebody's going to pick you. You're going to be moving ahead. You're not going to be stagnant. That's one.
Anybody has a different? Yeah, that's good. You're not going to be stagnant because right when you decide and move, you are going into this place little by little, but you might not know it. When you move every day and you do one thing that helps your future, which is you decided, you're moving every day. You have to. That's why she goes to practice every day. Another thing is, I said life is a field of play or is a marketplace. Another thing why you have to pick yourself if you don't know. Remember, most people that pick themselves, they don't know. These people, somebody already gave it to them. And I said, who gave those who know? You all agree, who gave those who don't know? Those who know. God. Their dreams. God. Exactly. When you move forward every day, you are working towards your goal. That's how you get to your future. And when you pick it yourself, because life is a marketplace, is a field of play, it doesn't wait for you. That's why you have to pick. This is very important. When you don't know, you have to pick. So I walk around, we grew up in Africa, and I told my wife, I said, I know why they build it in halls. They always ask, what do you want to be in life? We always say something, but I think they are building in us to be able to pick something at least. Because we didn't know. And they didn't know too what to be, what to give us. So you always want to have that consciousness. Do I know or I don't know? If you don't know, be frank with yourself. But you can pick a field that is bigger than you are. So when I say it doesn't wait for you, it keeps going. The marketplace keeps going. Those spectators that I talked about in terms of UFC, soccer, the game happened without them. They even have to pay from home to watch the game. But when you pick yourself, guess what happens? You can pick what glorifies you, what makes you happy, and what glorifies God. Because that's when you can extract your gift. Because you picked it, nobody picked it for you, right? That's the advantage of picking for yourself. You have no reason to say, oh, my dad picked this thing for me. Because you don't know, there's an advantage to it. You can pick what glorifies you, what makes you happy, and what glorifies God. You have a choice. So not knowing is not a bad thing, but spending life, guess what? If I ask you, like, what's your dream today in 10 years, and you don't know, guys, look at this thing, very important. You have to, maybe I should move this way. This is where I'll wrap it up. And I'll read this, my last point. If I ask you where do you want to go in 10 years, where would you like to be? Right? And you said you don't know. And let's say now, this is 10 years. We're giving it time. Let's say this is 10 years. In terms of dreams and vision and that event of life, where do you think you are? Do you think you are here? Where do you think you are on this diagram? You stay here. Because you didn't pick nothing. You didn't move forward. You were not going to do anything. In 10 years, even though it's future for some people, years have passed by, you are still here. That's what stagnation means. You're doing nothing, even though life goes by. Alright? So that's why this is very important. Even if you decide you don't know, if you're not the type that goes to God, every day that I already know God, find something doing. That's why in my book I said, don't be hiding. Alright? So if you don't know where you're going, pick a field of play that will glorify you and God. When you pick or know what you need to do to be a player and not a spectator. Alright? Spectators don't receive prize. Spectators are very important, but they are not relevant to make your vision and dream happen. My prayer today is no one here among you, our children and us, will depart this life being a spectator for the rest of their life. Alright, I hope you guys say amen for that. I hope we have learned something today, Just know that being relevant in life is not accidental. It's not. That's why I'm not going to talk about it. Some of the things I wrote for me, there's no accidental success in life. Alright? Plan to make impact, but to plan to make impact, you have to create it yourself, especially when you fall in the category of I don't know. So serve your gift to the world. Your gift is your DNA, something inside of you that's different from somebody else. That's why in one of the things I wrote, I asked some people, if somebody is coming here and they said they need, let's say, I'm just using an example, a pastor, right? If every pastor I don't know how many pastors are in a pastor or maybe how many soccer players are in here, if they said they need a soccer player or a pastor, or let's say pastor that, what would they pick you for? That's why in the field of soccer, my wife was telling me about somebody that, I think Roberto Carlos, he can shoot from like almost from the back and he can score. He can shoot, he can run. If they need somebody that can run, they will pick him. That's why in the field of play, you find people with so many different gifts. If they need somebody that can score goal, there's another person. What would they pick you for? If you're doing what everybody is doing, you are just 1 in 1,000, you will not stand out. So that's why when you join that field of play, you find something in you that nobody else had. It might be small, shine it into them. Don't be hiding. Like Sam was always, if you can sing, don't stand in the back. Just do it. The more you do it, the better you become. I said, your gift is your DNA. It is what sets you apart. Your gift is what makes you to be one that shines among 1,000. That's all I got. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions?